welcome back, folks, for another episode or another week, whichever we want to call it, of the Western Roundup. I'm your host, Jessup Pelkey. I'm with Mason Eisenzimmer, questionable relative of C.R. Eisenzimmer. We're still waiting for DNA and me to come up with a final answer on that.
Yeah. I
Mason,
I need to figure that out.
it would be kind of fun if you guys were related.
I'm pretty sure we are somehow. I'll have to talk to my mom when I go home this next week and see if
Yeah, that
she's the big like family tree person of the family.
see, I did that with my family. I think it was last Christmas. Was it last Christmas or two Christmases ago? I asked for a very detailed oriented map on each side. So that's kind of I like that stuff. It makes me laugh.
It can get real convoluted real quick.
Yeah, especially on my dad's side. It's weird, but I don't know. Anyways, let's get back to why we're here, Mason. We have a lot to talk about because unlike us, there was a lot of racing out west this week.
Yep, they were the lucky folks this week.
So let's kick it off on Friday. The Big Sky Speedway was racing. They had 54 cars there in attendance. I believe this was the Mountain States Modified Tour, the first weekend of it.
Yes.
So, for those of our listeners out east, or say in the Dakotas, who may not be aware of this, it's a kind of a weekend double header type tour where there's two races at a track, back to back, one weekend, then they go to another track, two races, and then I think there were three or four different tracks signed up for it this year. And this first one's out at Big Sky, and it focuses on the IMCA modifieds and the Wissota Midwest mods. And this weekend, it looks like the Midwest mods had a greater amount of cars turn out for them, as they had 24 Wissota Midwest mods, 11 IMCA mods, and on tap for a special guest of the weekend, they had the NX Legends, and they had a really healthy field of cars out there, as there were 19 of those racing as well. So let's kick it off with the IMCA mods. Not really a surprise here, but Eric Mass picked up the win on Friday night. He was followed by Bart Taylor and Jeremy Meerhofer. The hard charger for the feature was Jason George going +4 to finish fourth. And the heat winners were Rod Lorenz and Jeremy Meerhofer. So good group of drivers out there. Very high quality type of drivers, I would say, for a slightly lighter field of IMCA mods for a tour event. But overall, I thought that's a pretty good night for them. In the NX Legends, it was Tommy Quinzer going +2 to pick up the feature win, followed by the young Sierra Davenport from, is she from Mandan or Bismarck? I should know this.
I think she's from Bismarck.
I should know this.
It says
She races
Bismarck on
our
my
track
race
every
pass.
week. Well, it's okay. We'll go with Bismarck, but she's a really good young driver, especially one that a lot of the female fans and young female drivers can look up to because she's pretty clean. She races very well, and she got second, and she was followed by Travis Wagner. Our charger was Christopher Wisman, and he went +11 to finish fifth. Heat winners were Sierra Davenport, Michael King, and Tommy Quinzer. This also allows that Tommy Quinzer to pick up a Broomy for the week. So he's our first Broomy recipient this week. As for the Wissota Midwest mods, it was Troy Laker picking up the first big win of the weekend, going +3 to take the feature win. He was followed by Bart Taylor, and man, if there is an award for consistency, Bart would be right up there because he's always sniffing the front of the field.
Yeah. Yeah. I think his is because he was mainly, I don't know if he was mainly in the Midwest Mod or an IMCA modified last year, but he's been really consistent this year in the Midwest Mod.
Yep. And also another consistent driver, Jeremy Meerhofer, picking up third place. Hard charger for the night would be Nathan Keniston, going +9 to finish fifth. And your heat winners were Jeremy Meerhofer, Darren Hoff, Troy Laker, and Bart Taylor. So that gives Troy a broomy as well. So really good first night of racing for them. Going over to the Electric City Speedway, it was a 46 car field. What do we call out a field for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's call it field. Anyways, they had the Wissota Midwest mods. They had the Wissota late models and the IMCA modifieds. The Midwest mods had 16 in attendance. The Wissota late models had 16 in attendance. And there were 14 IMCA mods. And Mason, it really continues to show that if you sanction your late model races, you get a better turnout. I think that's really just a national point thing.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of with that, because otherwise it's like,
Yeah, yeah. So let's start with the IMCA mods. Taylor Johnson would pick up the feature win. He would be followed by Joey Price and Sean LaRock. Hard charger would be Ty Clemens going +8 to finish fourth. And your heat winners were Taylor Johnson and Fred Hansen. So Taylor would pick up a broomy for his efforts. In the Wissota Midwest mods, it was Joey Price picking up the win, going +2 in the feature. He was followed by Colby Hanna going +4. And the questionable relative of Mason, C.R. Eisenzimmer, picking up third, going +4 as well. Patrick Lemire would be the hard charger, finishing sixth after going +8. And then your heat winners were Mario Berger and Michael Schur.
yes.
Sure. Finally, in the Wissota late models. Hey, we know this name, Mason. Jim Harris out of
We do.
Estevan. Oh, I was going to say Estevan, Canada. Not Canada, but Wisconsin. Holy crap. I was thinking of the wrong late model person. Anyways, Jim Harris of Estevan, Canada, going +7 on the night to hold off Vernon Hill and Jeremiah Ledoux. The heat wins would go to Bo Nave and Travis Shoemate. So, again, if you want to see a lot more late models at your track, you sanction them.
Yeah, that's a good field of late models, and I will commend you for the pronunciation of Travis's last name. I always thought it was Shumati, but I keep hearing, I think people out west saying Shoemate, so I'm pretty sure that's the right pronunciation.
Really, I guess I don't see Shimati, but Shimati's kind of fun, but we'll call it Shoemate for now.
I think it's Shoemate, yeah.
All right. Final two tracks on Friday night would be Gallatin and Salmon Valley. Salmon Valley, we don't know anything about because there are no results. There's nothing on their Facebook, and we don't know enough about the drivers out that far to get any reports. So, race number 7 for Salmon Valley, question mark, and question mark. Gallatin, on the other hand, we do have results for. They had 46 cars in the pits for that night's events. They had the Rocky Mountain Sprints, Wissota Streets, the Wissota Supers, and the IMCA Sport Compacts. In the Rocky Mountain Sprints, Ross Matheson took the feature win of the 9-car field. The dash was won by Cliff Nelson Jr., and Paxton Fleming and Corey Wormling picked up heat wins. In the IMCA Sport Compact, Chaz Matty beat Chaz or Chase? We do this every week.
I think it's Chase.
Chase Matty picked up the feature win, going +6 in the 11 car field. However, that wasn't enough for Hard Charger as Gerard Frick would go +7 to pick up second, and JC Opelt went +2 to finish third. And then for your heat wins, it was JC Opelt and Wolfie Ginch with the wins in there. So looking at the Wissota streets, Robert Petrov picked up the feature win in the 13 car field. He was followed by Marvin Gonzalez, who went +5 as well. And Chris Galpin would take third. Marvin and Robert both picked up heat wins, giving Robert a broomy for the week. Finally, in the Wissota Super Stocks, it was John Tribble picking up the feature win. Paul Lease would go +11 in the 13 car field to get second, and Brody Smith would get third after going +6. John Tribble and Bo Brown would take your heat wins as well, giving John a broomy as well.
Yeah, Paul didn't start his heat and started dead last and nearly got it all the way to the front.
Yeah, that's called movement.
Yes.
Well, with that, we'll go over to Saturday, and Salmon Valley Speedway raced again. It was race number 8, and very similar to race number 7, we don't have any results. Can't do anything or say anything when there are 2 states over, and I have no line of access to anything, which is all right. As long as they're racing, that's a good thing.
Yep.
So let's move on to the next one that I almost overlooked this week. It was the Bandit Speedway. They had 23 cars show up to the track. The Wissota Midwest Mods had 4 in attendance, and there's going to be a good number of, maybe not a good number of broomies, but there's at least 2. Rex Conrad would pick up the feature and heat win for the Wissota Midwest Mods. And then the late model division saw Lynn Amick pick up a broomy as well in the 3 car field. There was a couple classes here, Mason, that only had 1 car show up in each one, and that was the stock cars, as Michael Lodgeland,
Yep.
Lodgeland. Don't make too much fun of me, people. We're trying. We're trying real hard. And then in the modified division, it was Bob Edwards showing up by himself as well. Let's see. The Mod 4s saw Tristan Torres pick up the feature win and Kyle Hardesty pick up the heat win in the 5 car field. And in the Wissota streets, it was a traveler taking the win as Braden Brower would make the long tow to pick up the win over Dylan Johnson and the crew and the 9 car field as well. So kind of a light, sparse type of field, but I think that might have had something to do with potentially the weather.
Yeah, and I don't know too much about Bandit Speedway. I know they don't have probably the most cars that show up to their track, but I mean, it's still nice that they had a good field in the street stocks, for instance, too. And kind of a note on Braden Brower. He actually, I believe, was up in the front, got caught up in a caution, went to the back, and then came back to the front and won. So good run for Braden.
Yep. Well, moving on to the Big Sky Speedway for night number 2 of the Mountain States Mod Tour. 56 cars in attendance. Again, 11 IMCA mods, 25 Wissota Midwest mods, and they picked up an extra legend as 20 legends were in the pits. So, IMCA mods. Mason, can you guess who won?
Without looking at the results, man, I don't remember.
He has a late model. He shares the same number as Daryl Nelson.
Or
Eric Mass.
He's a number 44. I thought Daryl Bauer was 54.
No, I said Daryl Nelson, not
Oh,
Daryl Bauer.
inverted, sorry.
That's all right. We won't throw a caution on you. Anyways, Eric Mass picked up the feature win again over the two very consistent drivers, Bart Taylor and Jeremy Meerhofer, taking second and third. Your heat wins would go to Eric Mass and Jeremy Meerhofer. So second broomy of the weekend for Eric. Looking at the legends, they had some travelers come over, Mason. When I say travelers, I mean Gage and Noah Madler. So two drivers we're very familiar with, and um, both of those young men are very, very good drivers and have some very good equipment as well. Not saying anybody else's equipment isn't good, but they really know how to step their game up. And they went 1-2 out there, so kind of cool to see the brothers make the toe and then go 1-2 as they beat Tommy Quinzer, who would finish third after going +6. And then your hard charger going +7 was Wendy Algren, who had a nice feature race as well. Your heat wins would go to the brothers, Noah and Gage Madler, and then Travis Wagner. So Gage would pick up his first broomy for the western part of the show. So kind of cool deal for him. Finally, closing the big sky off would be the Wissota Midwest Mods, 25 cars in attendance. Jeremy Meerhofer taking home the win. He was followed by hard charger Troy Liker, who went from 10th to 2nd. So that's a good run. Troy was followed by Tony Liker, who also went +2. And then your heat winners were, let's go Brady Lorenz, Rod Lorenz, Jeremy Meerhofer, and Bart Taylor. So look, hey, when I saw this, the Lorenz family had a pretty solid weekend.
They did. And well, Rod Lorenz has been in the Midwest Mod for a few years, I believe, but I believe this is Brady Lorenz's rookie year in that division.
Yep.
He was racing Sport Compacts last year.
I think so. So that's kind of cool. Good weekend for those guys. I mean, it's always good to have families being successful, and yeah, just kind of a cool little feel good story of the weekend for them, I think.
Yeah.
Well, let's go over to the Electric City Speedway for some late model action. 53 cars in attendance, 11 Wissota Super Stocks, 12 Wissota Street Stocks, 13 Rocky Mountain Sprints, and 17 late models. So the Supers, Mason, Casey Stephenson, +7 to beat out Pacer Popham and Bodie Smith. The heats would go to both of the Popham boys, as PJ and Pacer would get the heat wins, and we're laughing about it because we talked about the possum rule over at Nodak Speedway not too long ago. So that's kind of on my mind here.
Yep.
Anyways, the Wissota Street Stocks had 12 in attendance, and Robert Petroff brought home another win after going +6. Dylan Hopp went +4 for second, and Devin Jadwin went +5. So top three bringing the mail. They were definitely moving. The heat wins would go to Cal Tinker and Patrick Harvey. The Rocky Mountain Sprints had 13 in attendance, and it was Paxton Fleming picking up the feature win, followed by Corey Wormling and Ross Matheson. And Aiklin Fleming would be your hard charger going +6 to finish 5th in the feature. Dash was won by Corey Wormling, and heat wins would go to Corey Wormling and Ross Matheson. So Corey had a really good night, just came one spot short in the feature to getting the ultimate broomy.
Almost got the clean sweep. Yep.
Finally, it was the Wissota late model, 17 in attendance. I know we constantly joke about if they're sanctioned, you get more And I really believe it, Mason. 17 is a really good number. And that's for any part of Wissota, I think.
Yes. Yep.
Unless you're hosting a special event, or if your track regularly hosts late models, such as on a Friday or Saturday night, you're not seeing this many late models at a time. So
No, that's a really good draw, especially for somewhere out west.
yes, yes. So this is really promising um, for late model fans to see these numbers continue to rise. So hats off to Electric City for making a wise decision out there to sanction and maybe doing some outreach to get some guys to come out as well. Well, in the 17 car feature, it was Rocky DeGelly?
Rock DeGale, I believe.
DeGale?
Yep.
Rock DeGale.
He's been racing for a
Don't know.
long time.
Has he?
Oh yeah.
I
I
will
have
be
a
the
driver card, I think, from like 96 or 97 at home.
huh. That is a name that I am not familiar with, Mason. But that's cool because he must have used all of his wisdom because he went +8 in the feature to pick up the win. And he was followed by Paul Leach, who went +9 to get second. And funny enough, that wasn't enough to get Hard Charger because Ty Hample went +10 to finish third.
There you go.
So those three were definitely doing a lot of moving in the night. Vernon Hill Jr. and Jeremy Castro would pick up your heat wins. So definitely a nice night of racing over at the Electric City Speedway.
Looks like they have hot laps on here too. It looks like Vernon Hill and Jeremy Castro won the hot lap sessions too.
You know, person who first told me that hot laps one of the most important races of the night, Brent Larson, World of Outlaw driver.
Shout out to him. He got a podium this last weekend.
He did. So kind of a fun shout out for him. All right. Finishing off Saturday was the Gillette Thunder Speedway. Good car count for them here, Mason. 66 would make their way through the pit gates. 6 mini bombers, 11 mod 4s, 18 IMCA hobby stocks, 17 Midwest mods, 8 IMCA mods, and 6 late models. Super dirt late models is what they would be described as. So, in the late model division, it was Eddie Kirchhoff taking the feature win. He would have Ed Kirchhoff take the heat win. In the mini bombers, there's Alan Johnstone taking the feature win. And is it Cole? Cole? I'm assuming Cole Anton.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. He would take the heat win. And then jumping over to the IMCA mods, there was Eddie Kirchhoff getting a broomy as he would take the feature and the heat win. In the Wissota mod 4s, our good friend Dean Larson would go +6 to take the feature win. He would also get a broomy as he picked up a heat win along with Dax Rayer. In the Wissota Midwest mods, there was Matt Heinzerling going +7 to take the feature win, followed by Austin Long, who would also go +7 to get second, and then Ty Miller would go +4 to get third, and Travis Soper would go +8 to get sixth and to be hard charger. So there's a lot of passing going on there.
There's a lot of passing.
Heat wins would go to Austin Long, Austin Baumberger, and Matt Heinzerling. So that would give him a broomy as well. Finally, in the IMCA hobby stocks, it was Brett Const taking the feature win, going +8. He was followed by arch nemesis. They're probably best friends, but they could be arch nemesis for all we know. John Garrigan Jr., who went +4, and Dino Groening would go +9 in the feature to get third. Alan Michael, John Garrigan Jr., and Mike Matlock would get your heat wins for the night. And that would wrap up your Saturday racing and racing for the weekend. Now we got a lot to cover here and a lot to describe and to break down after we cover all of it. Thursday night at the Sheridan Speedway, it is night one of the Midwest Mod Summer Showdown. And cars hit the track at 6:30. General admission is $15. And a general description of what the night's going to be. It's going to be practice and then dashes. And that's kind of a cool concept because I know a lot of tracks just do a practice the first night of a big double header weekend. And this is kind of a little different concept. Weekend pit passes and expenses for the Midwest mods, it's $250 for the weekend. For the street stocks, it's $130, and for a weekend pit pass, it is $120. And we'll discuss a little more about this whole Midwest Mod Summer Showdown after we get through everybody. Friday at 7 p.m., it is the Sheridan Speedway, night number 2 of the Midwest Mod Summer Showdown. General admission is $20. You're going to be seeing the Midwest mods and the street stocks racing for that night. Over at the Black Hills Speedways, it is the Northern Plains ASCS Sprint Car racing action. I don't know. Sprint Car division being the headliners. The racing kicks off at 7 p.m. General admission is $25. Seniors and veterans get in for $20. Racing divisions will be Wissota Mod 4s, the ASCS Northern Plain 360 Sprints, the IMCA Hobby Stocks, the IMCA Mods, the Wissota Midwest Mods, and the Wissota Street Stocks. It is $1,500 to win for the sprint cars, Mason. And they said something about points, tallying up points for like money on their Facebook page. I wasn't really sure what that meant. I'm not sure if this is a 2-day or a 1-day deal. Maybe it might be points like a dash or something, or inverted heats and then features.
They got a lot going on that night.
They do. They also have an 1,000 to win hobby stock invitational going on that night as well.
I wonder if that was because that was supposed to be the hobby stock special this last week when they got rained out.
It could be. So could we see our friends Brett Constant, John Garrigan Jr.?
Oh, they'll be there.
We could see them battle it out for see who reigns supreme.
Maybe that's the fireworks show that they're referring to as well, that they're going to have.
I mean, if they have a fireworks show on top of that, that's a pretty stacked night.
We are joking. We don't know if Brett and John Garrigan Jr. are friends. I'm sure they hang out together.
I mean, they kind of have to, Mason. There's only so many tracks they can go to.
Right. That's
within a 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on, it's the Gallatin Speedway Montana Madness Night 1. Mason, there is a lot of money on the line here for the IMCA mods. I take that back. I didn't write it down. What the general admission is. If you want to see what general admission is, go to the Gallatin Speedway Facebook page, and it should be on one of the main posters for this weekend.
$20.
$20, great deal. Anyways, it is $5,000 to win, Mason. That's a good payout for IMC. That's a really good payout for any division. But this is where it's really different compared to a lot of other races. Second place, $3,000 to win. Third place, $2,000 to win. And now this is where I got confused, okay? So it says it's almost like a small mini dash and then 10th, and then it says 1,000. So is it 4th through 10th, 1,000 to win? Or is it just 10th place, 1,000 to win?
I don't know. That's I was trying to figure that out too. I'm like,
Because
okay.
if it's 4th through 10th, they should promote the heck out of that.
Yeah.
And then, so what's even wilder to me, as being a former board member of Dakota Speedway, and looking at the size of this purse, just to start the feature, Mason, $400.
Yeah,
That
that's
is that's significant.
that's a good chunk of money.
So 2 day show. So this is night one. Um, the super stocks usually put on a good show there as well. And I'm just gonna say, if you're within a 2 hour drive of it, I would go. I mean, you're gonna get a lot of the who's drivers coming in to that. And it's also a nice little stop for most of the drivers from the West Coast who are going to be coming for the Dakota Classic Modified Tour.
That'd be a
So
very good stop for them. Yes.
I bet you see Ricky Alvarado,
Oh, I bet he would make an appearance.
Eddie
Yeah,
Bellick.
maybe, maybe.
Hmm.
There's been a lot of shares on one of their latest posts, so I'm sure some of those big racers have seen it at least once.
I'm going to say Jeff Taylor makes an appearance as well.
No, he'd be a good one too.
Because he was just out there last year. Well, not too long ago.
Yeah,
So,
running one of Dale and Neitzel's cars, I believe.
yep. Well, that night one, I'm assuming is going to be heats and probably dashes. Not 100% sure. Mason, if you want to correct me, more than happy to
I'll
have you
look.
correct.
I'll look while you explain, just to verify.
So, moving on to Saturday, it's going to be night two of the Montana Madness. And again, $20 general admission. I have it written down there. I don't know. And then it starts at 7 p.m. And the classes racing again will be the IMCA mods. And now for Saturday, they will have the Wasota Streets racing. Um, again, there's a lot of money on the line. So I think anybody who wants to see some good racing or be treated to see a lot of the big name racers, that's going to be a big ticket race for you to go see. And I mean, the purse is incredibly spread out. It's a very healthy, an extremely healthy purse, and it. I don't know. I can't say enough good things about it. Mason, you see anything that I missed?
Nope, not seeing any further clarification on that. But either way, that's a really good payout.
Yep. Well, let's move on. The big Sky Speedway racing at 7 p.m. General admission $20. They got the Wasota Super Stocks in for the night, along with the Wasota Streets, the NX Legends, and the IMCA Sport Compacts. So it should be a nice night. They don't usually get the Wasota Supers every week, so a nice little treat for the local fans. Sheridan Speedway looks to close off the Midwest Mod Summer Showdown as it is night three, and that's it. It is what it is. This is where all the big money comes out, and $10,000 will be going home with someone. So it's going to be getting thrown down, especially for the MWM Western title.
That is no lie.
Finally, on Saturday, it's going to be the Bandit Speedway racing again. They have Wasota Midwest Mods, Wasota Mod 4s, Wasota Street Stocks, non-wing sprints, late models, and stock cars. And for further racing clarification, Sunday is the rain date for the Midwest Mod Summer Showdown at Sheridan. So that's the backup plan. Only thing of weather that I see kind of being concerning is that storm threat on Thursday. and that's mainly for the western part of North Dakota, where it's going to be a tornado warned storm or atmospheric situation. As
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to keep an eye on.
yeah, I'm going to make Becca drive me to the track.
Smart.
Anyways, that is the racing action coming up. Now let's break some stuff down here, Mason. There's a lot of information for this Midwest Mod Summer Showdown. First thing you notice looking at the flyer, 10,000 to win for the Midwest Mods. I don't know a lot of races that have paid off 10,000 to win for the Midwest Mods.
Not too many. They just had like a 10,000 win. I'm sure that's Canadian up in Thunder Bay this last weekend,
Yep.
but otherwise, not too many pay out that for Midwest Mods.
So this is and this is crazy money, Mason. This is being a former board member. They must have some amazing sponsors. So if you know who's sponsoring that thing, go thank them because there is a lot of money. So first place, 10,000 to win. Second place, 7,500. Not 750, 7,500. Third place, 5,000. Fourth place, 3,000. Fifth place, 2,000. Sixth place, 10,000. Seventh place, 750. Eighth, 600. Ninth, 500. 10th, 400. And it is 300 to start. That's like it. Let's see here. Let me do some quick math here. Mason, you stall.
Well, considering a typical weekly show, Midwest Mods probably race for what, 250, maybe 300 to win. So it gets pretty
Let's put it this way. It's close to a $40,000 purse
it's pretty crazy.
just for the feature. And I'm guessing. I'm just taking a random guess. So let's break down some cool aspects here. Okay. Thursday, we talked about it. We kind of highlighted it. Thursday night is kind of the practice night, but if you want to go see the drivers in attendance, you got to pay $15 for general admission. You're thinking $15 for just practice? Well, it's not just practice. They have dash races that night as well. And this is kind of cool because it didn't say how many dashes they were having, but if you win your dash, it's $300. If you get second, it's $225. If you get third, $175. If you get fourth, $125, and you get fifth, $100. That is a lot of money being tossed around.
For a day, yeah.
Dashes on a practice night. That's a pretty sweet deal.
Mm-hmm.
Then what they are also doing is after the dashes are finished and after all the practice is done, there is a free pig roast barbecue for anyone who attends. Drivers, pit crews, families, fans. Pretty sweet deal there. So for $15, you get a meal, you get to see everyone the opening night, and then you get some pretty sweet dash racing as well. Friday, they have inverted heats and they're taking passing points. Now, this is where I get a little confused, probably pretty straightforward, but they're going to be taking the top 24 in passing points and move them into a final dash. Okay, and if you win the final dash, it's $500. Second place is 400. Third place is 300. Fourth is 200. Fifth is 100. And sixth through 24th is I have 100 written down, so could be fifth through. There's a lot of money being thrown around
Still
again.
a lot of money, yep.
Then on let's see, Friday night for the street stocks, they are having a payout of 300 for first, 225 for second, and then 150. I got my numbers messed up here. 17. Oh, I see what I did wrong. Okay.
Yeah,
170.
175.
175. I had an extra zero put on the end. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I would not race for the win if it's 1750 for third. Anyways, fourth is 150, fifth is 100, and it's 75 to start the feature. Going on to Saturday, the top 6 from the passing points from the night before get to do a pole redraw. Okay. And they're not just redrawing for like positions, they're also getting money. So if you're the top in passing points, it's 300. If you're second, it's 225. If you're third, 175. Fourth is 125. Fifth is 106. And passing points is $75. Then they have their qualifiers as well. And if you make it out of each of the qualifiers, you get $50 as well. 26 cars to the A main. And we've already told you the big purse, big money breakdown for the feature. For the street stocks on Saturday, a really healthy purse again for them as well. 500 to win, 425 for second, 375 for third, 350 for fourth, and 300 for fifth. And I think it's 100 to start.
75.
Is
But
it 75?
it's 75 to start, according
Okay.
to
Okay.
But they said if there's 20 cars or more in attendance, an additional $100 will be added to positions 1 through 5 on Saturday.
Oh, nice. So, other fun aspects for the weekend, they have a $300 long haul award for whoever makes the furthest haul. And as it's confirmed now, which just were taken from their Facebook page, these drivers are making the tow over and some of the more recognizable names that will be in the Midwest mod field. You got Jared Klein, Scott Bentz, Troy and Tony Liker, Mike and Tommy Nichols, Dan Wheeler, and Blake Adams. So some really good names.
Yes.
So
I wouldn't be surprised to see a black and green number 19 show up over there too.
yeah, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it seems like a safe bet.
Right.
So now that we've broken that all down, Mason, it's gonna be a lot of money being thrown around this week out west.
I'll be keeping an eye on all that stuff out west.
I will be as well. I'm just really impressed with the purses. It's tough for tracks to host an invitational style race and to get a big purse for it to match the value and the quality of the race that they want to put on. But this is above and beyond going over the top of having a great purse.
Yeah, which means drivers get out there and support it.
That and thank the sponsors. If it's a small mom and pop place out there, you support them on your way back home.
Yeah. Be sure to definitely support this however you can.
Yeah. So with that, Mason, I think we've said enough for this week. You got anything else?
I think we got it covered.
Sweet. Well, until next time, race fans, have a great week and weekend. You guys have some amazing racing to watch this week. And until next time, get out there, support them, thank the sponsors, and put some bums in seats.